I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Christopher. I apologize for the lateness of this. It's for a film called Blind Date. And for those who want to request pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Blind Date came out in 1987, and it is a Blake Edwards comedy. Now, if you don't know who Blake Edwards is, he's the guy who did the Pink Panther films, at least quite a bit of them with Peter Sellers. He also did a film called Switch, which I didn't mind, with I believe Ellen Barkin. And I want to say he did the John Ritter film Stand Deep. I could be wrong on that, which is a film I remember not minding. That was a film where John Ritter had the glow-in-the-dark condom fight. I believe that was Blake Edwards. I could be wrong on that. But there's another one, and it stars Bruce Willis. And technically you could say this is the first film Bruce Willis got to star in. And this is 87. This is a year before Die Hard. And it's interesting to see this when you look at Bruce Willis nowadays, and he's very wooden. He's very lifeless. He's very just coasting along, just no life to him, no energy, no spirit. But then you see this when he's young, and there's a moment where he's dealing with, he goes out on a blind date with Kim Basinger, beautiful lady, of course would be in LA Confidential, and many, many other films. And the date goes bad, because she gets drunk, and when she gets drunk, she gets loopy, and Bruce Willis didn't really know this. And then she also has this psycho ex-boyfriend, played by John Larroquette, from the TV show Night Court. He was also in... the narrator in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Both the original and remake, who did the opening narration of the title credits, that's John Larroquette. And the reason I paused for a minute was, I'm trying to remember what was the last time I saw that guy in something. I don't even know if he's still with us, John Larroquette, because I haven't seen him in anything in a long, long time. I mean, I'm sure he must have been in stuff, but an actor I do like, and a very fun role. But I was due to a point that there's a point where Bruce Willis is fighting the guy, and then grabs a gun, and has a gun on John Larroquette. It's like, dance, scumbag, dance, do the moonwalk. I hate that shit. And then shoots at that was the funniest part to me. And I just busted a gut at that reaction by Bruce Willis. I hate that shit. And I'm like, okay, I've seen this film before. It's been a while though, because I didn't remember much about it, but it has its flaws. I think it takes a bit to get going. I do think the date portion that night is the best part of the movie, and like it takes a bit to get going, and it ends kind of. But there's enough moments that made me chuckle, interesting sight gags, like Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger go to a museum show, and I swear to God, the stuff on display is H.R. Giger stuff. Like I'm seeing like certain paintings, I'm like, that's H.R. Giger. That is H.R. Giger. That is like alien xenomorph like that, and others like this is H.R. Giger stuff. And I just thought that was rather unique. They don't say the name H.R. Giger, sadly, but I'm like, these are H.R. Giger paintings. Never thought I'd see Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger by H.R. Giger stuff. And that's what I mean, like, there's enough quirky... Even the beginning, I said it takes a bit for the... But mainly, I could excuse that, because it's building up to the blind date. But even the beginning, there's some fun stuff. Bruce Willis wakes up, and on the radio, it talks about, you know, if you don't have the right alarm, you need the James Brown auto alarm. And I'm not going to attempt to do the sound effect, but you can imagine what a James Brown auto alarm for your car sounds like. And even this little sight gag where in the bathroom, on the wall, Bruce Willis' character has a Waterworks Monopoly card imprinted on the bathroom wall. I thought that was rather funny. You know, Waterworks, and it's the bathroom. I'm like, okay, he's got a Monopoly thing on the wall. Interesting. That's really stuff like that, like the museum with the H.R. Giger paintings. I'm like, okay, there's some quirky stuff to it. And this is also a nice, fun way to look at Bruce Willis before he gave up. Because I'm sorry, that's the best way I put it. Bruce Willis, I liked a lot of his movies. The first 4 Die Hard films. Last Man Standing, The Last Boy Scout, Mercury Rising, Hostage. I liked Striking Distance. Yes, I even liked Hudson Hawk. I liked a lot of his movies. But all this direct-to-video stuff, he gave up. And like every 5 years, he's like, I'm not going to do any more action films, not going to do any more violent films, not going to do any more of this. And then he does like 5 more. And his heart isn't in it. And that's really what it is. His heart is not into acting anymore. It's not. Now, as a person, honestly, as a person, he always seems that he's always been a dickhead. But as an actor, he actually could act and had life and energy. That's why you look at this film and say, wow, you know, he's being angry or funny or over the top. And of course, a year later, you got Die Hard. But nowadays, I don't know what the fuck happened. Other than he just lost his passion. Do I get paid? Alright. Come in for 10 minutes. Leave. But get back to this. Like I said, the opening has some fun stuff. And some decent direction by Blake Edwards. Like when Bruce Willis goes to work, there's a nice tracking shot that lasts for quite a bit where a buddy of Bruce Willis is telling this story about what he did last night, and it goes into the elevator, they're still talking, then comes out of the elevator, they go into the outside, and it's all done in one take, in a nice tracking shot. So like, stuff like that I commend Blake Edwards on. And pretty much the setup is that there's going to be this business meeting, this dinner with this important guy, who is an Asian guy, I believe Japanese, I could be wrong, but I believe, who has this wife, but it's like a wife who is very obedient, concubine, how they worded it. And he's supposed to be respectful, and Bruce Willis is supposed to bring a date, he doesn't have a date, and Phil Hartman is in this. Rest in peace, Phil Hartman, who plays Bruce Willis' brother, which, again, that's a fun idea, that Phil Hartman plays Bruce Willis' brother. Phil Hartman talks to his wife, His wife has a cousin, hooks up with Bruce Willis, and of course it's Kim Basinger. Beautiful, kind, nice, perfect. But if she drinks, she has loopy, chemical imbalance, and then starts going off. I didn't like there's enough fun moments, like Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger. I think they do a good job. I think they work well together. Kim Basinger is sexy. I do think she's talented. Bruce Willis, this is when he had life in him. Then people like Phil Hartman, John Larroquette as the psycho ex-boyfriend. He's a lot of fun. I think this is one of his more entertaining roles. He's always trying to kill Bruce Willis, or they try to apologize, and he's chasing the two of them in a car, and he keeps crashing the different buildings, like a flower place or what was another place? He keeps crashing the different fucking buildings. And even like during the dinner where Kim Basinger's getting a bit loopy, I like some of her dialogue. Like the waiter. I recognize the waiter. The waiter is, I believe, Armin Shimmerman. He's the guy that played the Ferengi in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Quark. And he's been in other stuff too without makeup, but I recognize this guy who plays this French waiter. And she's like, do you speak French or bullshit menu French? And she gets rowdy and sees the businessman, and like, why you have this girl, and she's having to be so obedient, and they accidentally take off her hair, which is a wig, the Japanese lady, and then follows her to the bathroom. He's always saying, me speak no English, me speak no English, but then drunk, Kim Basinger goes, you do know in California, you're entitled to 50% of your husband's assets. And then immediately the other goes, 50%? And yeah, you just see that coming, but I still thought that was a pretty fun moment, fun realization of this very obedient, I speak no English to 50%. I mean, I thought it was natural and how that played out. And I guess my one gripe, obviously the big gripe, is the blind date I think should have been longer. I think should have culminated at the end of the night where things are at their darkest, or not darkest, but at their worst, but then she steps out of it. I think once we get into the blind date, don't leave the blind date. And when it ends, the blind date is ended, but things have been resolved, and they're going to continue their relationship despite all the crazy night. I just think that would have been more fun. The goal of the more craziness throughout the night. Because you have the dinner scene, then John Larroquette stops them. I do like the moment where John Larroquette tries to beat him up, Bruce Willis leaves, then goes to the John Larroquette's car, steals John Larroquette's car, Larroquette gets pissed, and then Bruce Willis lets the car go and jumps out and runs the other way, and John Larroquette says, you asshole! He's got to keep running as the car's just drifting down the road. And then Bruce Willis gets back in his car. Like, that was a funny moment. Because it's been a while since I've seen this. I'm like, what's Bruce Willis doing? Oh, is he going to steal the car? Oh no, he's just going to go enough and just let the car keep fucking rolling. Get out and then get back in his car. And again, there's some fun sight gags, like trying to talk to Kim Basinger when she's drunk. What house do I drop you off? Go to a house. As soon as Bruce Willis nods, the entire fucking house is dragged away. Which I don't know if this is how they really move houses, but it was something where construction crew are getting rid of this house, I guess. And then there's kind of a switcheroo where Kim is sobering up and Bruce Willis, he's like, no, let's go to your party. And then he starts acting out, starts drinking, and he actually plays basketball and throws an olive into a woman's breast. Because he's like, oh, the Lakers win in overtime. Like, it was fun to see Bruce Willis let loose. And Bruce Willis having fun. And Bruce Willis just being with joy and jovial. And, there's still a lot of, that Bruce Willis cool factor. But to let loose, and especially this party scene. And that's where you get the scene where he's fighting John Larroquette and gets the guns like, dance, scumbag. Moonwalk. I hate that shit. Anytime I think of that, it still makes me laugh. That's easily the funniest part of it. And then sadly, okay, he goes to jail. And then the night's over. And then you got like 25 minutes left of the movie. And I go, oh. Well, I was having fun during this crazy night. Let's keep going. Nah. Because Phil Hartman gets him out of jail. Then he's in trial. And then John Larroquette says, hey, I can get him off because I'm a lawyer, Kim Basinger, but you need to marry me. She agreed because she feels bad for what happened to Bruce Willis. So then John Larroquette tells to the judge, who's William Daniels. That's the voice of Kit in the original Knight Rider. He was also in the teacher in Boy Meets World. And you find out that they're father and son. It's like, if you let him off, I won't practice in the state. And it kind of just, it wasn't bad. It just went meh in the finale. Spoiler for the finale. Just, okay, they're going to get married at William Daniels' place, the judge's place. Bruce Willis tries to sneak in. He's chased by dogs. He gets some chocolate, injects alcohol in each of them to send them as a gift, and then Kim them. Then she's a bit loopy at the wedding. And then Bruce Willis arrives, and Kim Basinger sees him, and they both jump in the pool and kiss. And then there's a lot of loose ends. I'm like, wait a minute, what about the bargain you had with John Larroquette? Isn't he now going to press charges again? Or are you not able to now? If that was the case, then why didn't Kim Basinger just say, fuck it, I'm not marrying you? It seemed like she was marrying because it's part of this bargain, this deal. But you could have gone out of it any time. If that's the case. If there was no... It seemed like if I got out of this wedding, then something bad will happen. But nothing bad did happen. So why didn't Kim just get out of the wedding before? She didn't want to marry him, didn't love him. Why didn't you just get out of it, 2 days before? Say, fuck this. Go talk to Bruce Willis. What about the whole thing with Bruce Willis' job? Losing the job. They made it seem as if, I think even Bruce Willis says, this is all my life, this is all my life's work. And then that's kind of forgotten. Like, what does Bruce Willis do for work now? I know he has a guitar, but what does he do? Did he get another job? Is he homeless? Did he get a job at Walmart? I mean, what's going on here? So he's not going to jail now? So that bargain still is upstanding? Even though you're not going to marry John Larroquette? Or Kim's not going to marry... That's where, like, certain questions arose, and I'm like, I guess I'm not just supposed to think about it? That's what I mean. I didn't care for this, the finale. I didn't care for the direction it took with that. I think if it stuck with the night, and we've seen that before too. But to me, that would work for this film better. We're at this crazy night, more and more, and even more crazy stuff happens. He's in jail. He's out of jail. The cops forget some shit, so I don't know, some crazy other, more and more crazy antics happen. Ultimately, either Bruce Willis knocking John Larroquette out and saying, screw the job, screw everything. What are you doing tomorrow? You want to go home and play Nintendo with me? I don't know. when the night ended, it kind of took the sails out of the movie, so to speak. It kind of, there's really nothing in the finale that I looked at and go, oh, that was hilarious, or that was funny. I mean, when Bruce Willis got arrested, the movie kind of went, meh. Maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe people love the finale. I mean, it's at least not a bad finale. They do get together. I do like the sight gag of they've just been married. So I'm like, wow, that was a jump. And instead of champagne, it's a bottle of Coca-Cola, chilled and ice. Because again, she just loopy with alcohol. So I'm like, okay, product placement. But here I'm like, okay, Coca-Cola. I get why. That was kind of funny. You know, the song at the end, tolerable. The score, I don't remember the score. I think that would have helped too. I don't remember it being a bad score, but it's funny, if you watch the trailer, I think the trailer has the score to Fletch. I could be wrong, but I'm like, is this score Harold Faltermeyer? Is this like in the trailer to this movie? Is that fucking Fletch? I'm like, I could be wrong because I haven't seen Fletch in a long time. But I'm like, if you had a score like that, that would help a bit as well with this film. And so that's what I mean. I like the film. I would give it like 3.5 out of 5 stars. Maybe 3.5. 3.5 out of 5. Because Bruce Willis is fun. Kim Basinger as well. John Larroquette is entertaining. Like I said, the quirky moments, like the H.R. Dieter paintings and the James Brown auto alarm, and I'm not going. Okay, I'll stop repeating that. That was fun. Like I said, if it had like a stronger music palette, if not a score, then really a great memorable song scattered throughout, and more importantly, the ending, like the finale. I wish it was a more funny, a more hilarious, a more entertaining finale. Like I said, I don't think it needed to step away from the blind date itself from that night. I think, one of those where the night keeps getting even crazier and crazier and crazier. Yes, we've seen that before, but I think that would have worked better. Maybe that's just me, though. But overall, I do like the film. It was an entertaining film. And worth a look if you're a Bruce Willis fan. And to see him, again, very different than how he is nowadays. He's got life to him. So that alone is good to see and to witness. And it's a bit underrated. It's a little bit underrated because no one ever talks about this film with Bruce Willis. And then it's kind of slogged off as a... No, this film did decent box office when it came out. It was a decent little hit. And it's a pretty decent film. So, not a bad film at all. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.